there, I'm CBS 8's Jenny Day. So glad to have you with me as I take you around San Diego. I'll catch you up on our top stories and look ahead at what's to come. This week, the homelessness issue in San Diego County was declared a public health crisis. County supervisors voted on it unanimously on Tuesday. Now there are new plans to help some of San Diego's most vulnerable people who are facing homelessness, senior citizens. CBS 8's Jasmine Ramirez gives us a breakdown of these programs and the others who would benefit.
These initiatives are really the first of their kind. The county is working to make it more affordable for people to live in San Diego. The skyrocketing cost of gas and housing is impacting us all, but seniors on fixed incomes are being hit especially hard.
A decade ago, they may have been paying $600 in rent. Now it's $3,000.
A growing number of seniors are becoming homeless. The county has found about 1/4 of the people who are considered homeless are at least 55 years old. Homeless advocate Amy Zamudio sees it happening firsthand.
We are seeing a lot of newly unhoused seniors, and that's pretty scary.
The county is working to prevent that. A new initiative will provide $500 a month in rental assistance. 220 households will participate in this initial phase. More details should be coming soon. The county is also launching a program to help the working middle class.
When we talk about the American dream, buying a home is sometimes unattainable for so many folks.
Middle-income workers make too much money to qualify for low-income programs, but often don't make enough to afford a home.
They might be making $70,000, $80,000, $100,000, but the average home in San Diego is over $900,000, and you need $250,000 of income to qualify for it.
The county is creating a revolving fund that will offer low-interest loans.
This is going to help folks who are like our nurses, our teachers, our first responders, people who are out there who grew up in these communities. The county is still working out details for the middle-income home program, and the program for seniors will be extended if this pilot project is successful. Jasmine Ramirez, CBS 8.
Jasmine, thanks. And with 5 sex offenders living in one lakeside home, parents there are speaking out about the safety of their children. And now school leaders want to take action. Monday, the school board laid out proposed policies that they say would keep kids safer and increase transparency. They include increasing the distance sex offenders could live from schools, from 2,000 feet to 1 mile. They also want to form a safety committee to work with the Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation on the placement of sex offenders.
We represent all of these neighborhoods. You know, Jim, Tamara, myself, we represent neighborhoods all across East County that would want to know if 5 sex offenders are going to be moved in to their neighborhood.
The letter was also sent to Governor Gavin Newsom and the Department of Corrections. Meantime, an Oceanside man accused of impersonating a deputy and randomly pulling over drivers was sentenced this week. Michael Carmichael was arrested in June after a police chase. CBS 8's David Godfredson was in court where Carmichael accepted a plea bargain.
Deputy Public Defender David Knutson informed Mr. Carmichael, who's present in custody. This is the date set for sentencing.
21-year-old Michael Carmichael had been charged with 10 felonies for impersonating a sheriff's deputy and pulling over at least 7 drivers in the North County. He copped a plea and pleaded guilty to 1 felony count of impersonating an officer and 1 felony count of evading arrest. The rest of the felonies were dismissed. The evading arrest charge stemmed from an incident in June where a deputy drove by while Carmichael was on the side of the road in Fallbrook speaking to a woman he had pulled over. His Toyota Camry was mocked up to look like a police car. Carmichael saw the deputy, fled the scene, and crashed his car into a tree. Inside, they found all sorts of police tactical gear.
Metal knuckles, 2 expandable batons, a gun belt, a replica firearm, pellet gun, tactical vest with sheriff written on it.
Carmichael lives in this house in Oceanside with his mother and aunt. In June, the mother told me her son is a former Marine who was discharged for mental illness. Why was he pulling these people over?
I don't know, because he thinks he's a cop. Okay. He wants to do everything a cop does.
The judge sentenced Carmichael to 1 year in jail per the terms of his plea deal and suspended his driver's license. None of his victims spoke in court.
Mr. Carmichael, when you get released from custody after you are done serving your 365 days in custody, you must report to probation within 72 hours. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am. With time off for good behavior, Carmichael has a little bit more than 2 months left on his sentence. Then he'll be released and he'll be on probation for 3 years. At the Vista Courthouse, David Gottfredson, CBS 8.
Thank you for the update, David. Well, we are getting a better look at a plan that could help local teachers find housing. This November, voters will see a $3.2 billion bond measure for San Diego Unified. Of that money, the district would dedicate more than $200 million to build educator housing. CBS 8's Jasmine Ramirez tells us more about the initiative that's gaining popularity across the state.
San Diego Unified would become the first district in the county to offer affordable housing for teachers. There's hope it will help retain and attract staff.
The cost of our rent has gone up just like everyone else, and that's been a huge factor in not being able to attract enough educators into our districts.
Kyle Weinberg is the president of the San Diego Education Association. He says the district would offer the housing to various employees, not just teachers,
so that we can afford to live in the communities that we serve.
He says the district looks to build up to 500 housing units. The project would likely be on land the district already owns. Specific income requirements haven't been laid out. Statewide, the concept is gaining momentum.
Currently, there's only about 5 projects in existence, but there are many more districts that are expressing an interest. We personally know about 50 districts that are exploring this idea,
with San Diego Unified being one of them.
And hoping that everyone votes to support the bond that we've endorsed as our union of over 6,000 educators.
Measure U would also fund renovations to school buildings and upgraded security measures. As for the cost, Measure U would not increase taxes. It will extend the district-wide property tax of 6 cents per $100. And again, voters must pass the district's bond measure for the affordable teacher housing to happen. Election day is November 8th. Jasmine Ramirez, CBS 8.
Jasmine, thanks again. Well, retired educators in Poway are fighting to keep books in school that some parents are trying to remove. 2 parents called on the district to ban 2 LGBTQ books that they say are inappropriate. They also have a list of 100 other books they say should also be banned. Former Poway educators are now concerned this will lead to other titles like To Kill a Mockingbird and Of Mice and Men being taken out of schools.
Books are classics. We shouldn't ban them. We should learn from them and have great discussion.
Poway Unified told us the 2 LGBTQ books have been removed from the libraries and are now under review. They add that as of now, no books have been banned. Well, leaders in Encinitas are considering new strict policies when it comes to smoking. A new proposal would expand the city's current ban on smoking in certain public places. It's already banned in parks and beaches, but would also include sidewalks and even inside cars. CBS 8's Regina Urita is there in Encinitas with details on the proposed rules and local reaction.
Since 2014, Encinitas has already been banning smoking at parks, beaches, and trails. People are also not allowed to smoke within 20 feet of a restaurant's outdoor patio. But soon, the list of restricted areas may get even longer, including moving vehicles.
It may become illegal to smoke anywhere but on private property in Encinitas. And that's because of a new proposal that's undergoing city review, which essentially prohibits people from smoking in any public space.
Now that I'm 100% sober, I smoke more than I ever did before.
That means smokers might have to light up that cigarette, but only in the comfort of their own home. Right now, smoking is allowed in permitted public areas, but with stricter laws, that can all change. And not everyone seems to be supportive.
All this craziness is going on. I'm not for any of it.
This man tells me he's fed up with the city's restrictions.
I don't like any government control. Hey, why can't you smoke outside?
According to the city, the proposal is meant to respond to not only a public health issue, but also an environmental one. Between January 2019 and March 2020, the Surfrider Foundation collected over 52,000 cigarette butts from San Diego County beaches. And those who have witnessed the littered cigarette butts are hoping the city passes it sooner rather than later.
I think it'd be good for everybody to quit smoking. It's not good for you.
If they were polite about it and they would, watch out for other people and don't smoke on other people, If they want to smoke those things and kill themselves, that's kind of up to them.
I asked longtime smokers in Encinitas if this seems like the correct approach. While some say this is an attack on smokers, others were open to the idea, but without penalties.
As far as enforcing it, that part is going to be a little dicey. I definitely don't want to get a ticket.
The Environmental Commission recommended that the council adopt an ordinance modeled on one in Manhattan Beach, which prohibits smoking in public, but exempts private residential properties and moving vehicles.
As of now, city staff is still reviewing how to handle enforcement. The city will vote once staff has completed its review. Regina Urita, CBS 8.
Regina, thanks. Well, gas prices in San Diego have been rising for 25 straight days. It's now $5.90 a gallon, a 12-cent jump from Monday. Experts say this trend is expected to continue in the short term. CBS 8's Richard Allen has more on what's behind this increase, as well as when we might see some relief at the pump.
Well, that's right. This station here in Kearney Mesa is already charging more than $6 a gallon. And analysts say we can expect the average price here in San Diego, now $5.90, to soon surpass that threshold once again.
Oh my God, I'm glad I can afford it, but I feel bad for the people who can't.
While the cost of gas here in Southern California continues to climb, most drivers say that filling up is a necessity.
It's like buying toilet paper. You got to get it, whatever it costs, you're going to get it. You're not going without it.
According to AAA, today's cost for a gallon of unleaded in San Diego County is 48 cents more than 1 week ago, 65 cents more than a month ago, and $1.55 more than 1 year ago.
To put that into perspective, someone with a typical mid-size sedan with a 14-gallon size fuel tank, they're paying about $22 more to fill up that same tank of gas today compared to last year at this time.
Doug Shoup of AAA says much of these climbing prices at the pump are due to reduced output at refineries throughout the state. Many of these plants are now temporarily offline as they perform critical maintenance that had been postponed from earlier this year.
And in fact, the Energy Information Administration reports that West Coast fuel inventories are at the lowest level that we have seen in a decade.
California's strict environmental regulations require the sale of special summer and winter blends designed to reduce air pollution. That special formula is produced by just 10 refineries throughout the state.
It's not like we can get that product delivered to us. So, that creates this fuel island, if you will, or bubble that we're in here in Southern California. It's why we pay, that is one of the reasons why we pay some of the highest gas prices in the nation.
And those high prices are impacting what many San Diegans are now choosing to do and not do.
I'm not going out to eat.
So you try to consolidate all your trips so you're not driving around for small things.
But I don't really go a lot of places, I stick around home. It's a lot of staycations.
And some encouraging news, gas stations throughout California will start selling the state's winter blend in November, which is usually 15 to 20 cents cheaper than the summer blend we have now.
It's a hot topic, Richard, thanks. Well, a historic music hall in National City has been deteriorating for years. People have been breaking into Granger Music Hall on 4th Street, trashing it and using it as a place to sleep. CBS 8's Regina Urita talked to city leaders about the building's future, which includes the possibility of literally lifting it off the ground and relocating it.
Behind me is Granger Music Hall, and 20 years ago it used to be this beautiful site where people would come to listen to live music. Right now it's an eyesore, and I want to show you what it's like even outside of the building, the amount of trash that you'll see if you're walking by this area.
Piles of trash, graffiti, a makeshift homeless encampment, and spider webs. These are just some of the issues that you will see if you pass by Granger Music Hall in National City. But this building painted a different picture decades ago.
It was this really historical spot that had a lot of rich stories that, from hauntings to, certain things and events happening that were significant.
The property is close to the public, but it's next to a homeless encampment where people have broken into the property by welding the metal gate.
They've also broken into some of our electrical boxes.
According to the city, the music hall was moved to 4th Street when the Granger family, the owners of the building, had plans to move it to Mexico. To help keep it in the area, the city helped move it it to 4th Street, but it's been decaying ever since, and the city has yet to address it.
Outside shingling all needs to be replaced. It needed to be replaced when we took it over. The roof completely needs to be replaced.
After witnessing people illegally breaking into the building, I asked Mayor Alejandra Sotelo Solis and Councilmember Ron Morrison why it's taken so long to revamp the music hall. Mayor Solis tells me it's because of a lack of resources.
Again, with inflation and everything else, it's probably going to cost anywhere between $4 and $5 million just to move the facility.
Councilman Morrison blames the delay on city staff who's still determining where to relocate it again. The two possible locations are the Port and Pepper Park or on El Toyon Park.
We're really getting tired of dealing with the port on this issue, and it would be a difficult move.
With no action from the city just yet, music enthusiasts fear the site will never open to the public again. But Mayor Solis says state and federal funding will soon make the relocation happen in the near future. Regina Urita, CBS 8.
It's one we'll follow. Regina, thanks. Well, people living in Boulevard say they are running out of water, and it's not because of the drought. They've reached out to CBS 8 for help. Homeowners in the area blame the lack of water on one of their neighbors, who they say is building a lake on his property. CBS 8's Shannon Handy is working for you on this story and has those details.
Here in Boulevard, everyone lives off of a well system. Now people are discovering their wells are either completely dry or they're recovering water very slowly.
There we go.
For John Dolan, water is more precious now than it's ever been.
Can't live without water.
The 77-year-old retiree bought this property in Boulevard nearly 14 years ago and says he's never had dry wells until this past July.
All 3 wells on the property went dry with each other within a week, all of them.
John called a few experts who couldn't source a problem. Then he talked to his neighbors and learned they were having issues too.
Rose on the bottom corner down that way, she has the same thing. What she used to recover in a day, half a day, is now taking a 4 or 5 days.
John says he and his neighbors soon figured out what they believe is the culprit. They claim another neighbor is building a lake on his property, and the well he has is 1,200 feet deep, whereas John's is only about 200.
I truly believe that he is sucking up all of the resources on the water.
John and his neighbors have called several county agencies, none of whom were helpful, so they reached out to CBS 8. We contacted the county and were told they have visited the property and found the property owner in violation of several county codes for, quote, unpermitted clearing and grading as well as an unpermitted structure. But when it comes to water, quote, in most situations and in this one, the county does not regulate the amount of water used for residential wells. Any dispute regarding the amount of water used from neighboring wells would be a civil matter between those well owners.
There is no jurisdiction over this water, essentially.
Apparently. It's a rock and a hard spot. I'm damned if I do and damned if I don't.
John now has to spend hundreds of dollars every few months purchasing outside water just to get by. He's also let his garden go and only takes short showers, saying he's not sure what more he can do.
If I wanted to move, I couldn't sell the place with no water. I couldn't afford to move. I mean, this is it.
As for the property in question, it's called Shreddy Ranch. CBS 8 spoke to the owner by phone. He told us he inherited the property from his parents and is simply filling in a pond that existed there before, adding he doesn't want to have issues with his neighbors. However, a video posted to social media, which has since been taken down, showed him talking about building a lake in hopes of having jet ski competitions on it. John's response, he wants the county to do more, saying leaving it up to neighbors to figure out isn't getting them anywhere.
People up here are living on this. They're depending on this support. This is a natural resource, but it's for everybody, not for one person.
Shannon Handy, CBS 8.
Well, as I continue to take you around San Diego, people in California will now have a more eco-friendly burial option. Our state joins 4 others in the country that offer human composting as an end-of-life burial option. CBS 8's Evan Narani has more on how much greener the alternative is in this Earth 8 report.
End-of-life care isn't an easy conversation for many, but California lawmakers think that could change for those seeking a greener option with the passage of Assembly Bill 351.
This cycle of returning back to Earth is nothing new.
Assemblywoman Cristina Garcia drafted the bill that paves the way for human composting, also known as natural organic reduction. The process involves placing the body in a vessel filled with soil, allowing it to break down naturally over 60 days into a nutrient-dense soil that can then be returned to families.
It's compost, it's soil that we're talking about, soil that could be used to plant trees, that could be used to plant a garden, that is also good for the environment.
We lay a bed of organics, straw, alfalfa, and sawdust into the
California, however, is not the first state to allow it. The process has been well underway in 4 other states. Micah Truman runs Return Home just outside of Seattle, Washington, and has offered the process to families for over a year.
California is the bellwether, and the fact that you guys have ratified means it's simply a matter of time until the rest of the states in the union do.
It's also part of a continued push across the state of California to reduce carbon emissions and reduce climate change.
Cremation, 30 gallons of fuel per case and blows 530 pounds of CO2 into the air. Last time I checked, all of us are going to die. So we literally have developed a system that is environmentally deeply problematic to solve a problem that happens to every single person on the planet.
Natural organic reduction of human remains uses about 90% less energy than traditional methods. It also returns nutrients back to Earth much faster than a traditional casket burial and with more nutrients than cremation.
Neither of these alternatives strike us as overly appropriate to the current environmental situation our Earth is having.
More and more funeral homes across the country are going this direction.
Earlier this year, CBS 8 was at the grand opening of the state's first aqua cremation site in Escondido, using just water and an alkaline solution to provide those remains. Human composting builds on the now multiple green options available.
Our last decision on this planet is what we do with our body. It matters enormously. It's really important we consider it carefully and make it count.
Assemblywoman Garcia says if every California resident shows natural organic reduction over the next 10 years, it would prevent 2.5 million metric tons of CO2 from entering the atmosphere. Evan Nurani, CBS 8.
Interesting for sure. Well, California funeral homes will be allowed to offer a human compost option starting in 2027. They'll join Washington, Oregon, Vermont, and Colorado in legalizing it. Well, we'll leave you now with a feel-good story. A popular family-owned restaurant in Hillcrest, known for its delicious breakfast and American food, is celebrating a 40-year anniversary. CBS 8's Ariana Cohen is at Crest Cafe to share more of their story and the secret to 4 decades of success.
People are celebrating a big milestone for this family-owned restaurant known for its hospitality and homemade hearty comfort food.
Tracy Turner came to Crest Cafe in Hillcrest when it first opened.
A restaurant's not just about food, a restaurant's about memories.
Today, she is back at her favorite restaurant on its 40th anniversary.
Number one, the best food. The food comes with love. Every time you come here, and it brings you back to something that you've eaten or it's familiar.
Luis Moreno bought Crest Cafe in the 1980s. His nephew, Enrique, is now the general manager.
I wish my Uncle Luis was still with us. He passed away back in 2017, and it would be really awesome if we could have been a part of this accomplishment.
And ever since, many of his family members have worked here. Enrique's father, Ruben Medina, is the kitchen manager. He started working here at 18 years old, right out of high school. He's now worked here for 35 years.
35 years, you know how many times I call in sick? 0.
And I found a real good one in Hillcrest. The Crest Cafe is sort of hidden.
CBS 8's very own unknown eater visited the Crest Cafe in 1983.
The burgers are good and thick and cooked just the way you order.
At that time, some food items were only $2 to $5.
Now we're about 16, 17.
The restaurant survived the pandemic, and they attribute it to loyal customers and staff. Today is officially Crest Cafe Day. They're not planning on leaving anytime soon.
I expect another 40 years.
And neither is Tracy.
The love of food, the love of community, the support of the community that loves them back, and they'll never go away. Happy 40th anniversary.
This is one of the most recommended items on the menu, the creme brulee French toast. And since they serve breakfast all day, why not? I'm going to enjoy this and send things back to you guys.
Looks great, Ariana. Thanks. Well, as always, thank you for your time. Thank you for staying informed. Hope you join me each week as I take you around San Diego. For CBS 8, I'm Jenny Day. Take good care.